In today's video, we're going to have a look at how to cast our Lovelace dashboards to our Google Cast devices. Check it out. What's going on, guys? I hope you're all doing well. So casting dashboards, what is it and what does it do? Well, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's going to allow you to cast a specific view from one of your Home Assistant dashboards and just cast that on over to a supported Google device. And whether that's a Google Nest Hub or a Google Chromecast, you'll be able to see that set view on that display. And just so we're on the same page here, and pun not intended, when I say view, what I actually mean is the set page, so the actual view that you can see in your dashboard. So for example, I've got my demo dashboard here. So demo is the name of the dashboard, and then inside of that dashboard I have multiple views, and you can kind of think of those views as individual pages. So a dashboard contains multiple views, and it's these views that will be cast into our Google devices. To get started with this video, you're obviously going to need a supported Google device. In this video, I'm going to be making use of a Google Nest Hub Gen 2, but you can use any Google device that has a screen. And in the case of Chromecast, you can cast the view to the display, but I'm not sure if you can interact with that casted display, just because I don't have a Chromecast to test this out on. If you do have a Chromecast and you do test this out, let me know if you can do those interactions. It'd be cool to know. The other thing you'll need is to have your Home Assistant accessible via HTTPS. If you're making use of the Home Assistant cloud, then this is already automatically handled for you. And if you're not, then you'll need to set up and configure your external URL. And if you're not sure how to do that, I'll have a link to this page in the description below, so go ahead and follow those config steps. And if you've got those things, then we should be good to go. So let's get straight into it. If you haven't already, you'll need to set up the Google Cast integration. By default, Home Assistant will just automatically detect any Google Cast devices on your network and prompt you to set up this integration. When you hit configure, it should just automatically pull in any Google devices that you have. If you are configuring this for the first time and you hit configure and it only finds one device, just give it a couple of minutes because it's just automatically detecting any of the devices. And if you refresh the page, it should just find any extra devices that you have. If you've got the Cast integration set up and installed, then you're pretty much 90% of the way there. I'll just quickly show you how you go about getting the URLs for your dashboard and views, and then we'll have a look at some demos and automations. Getting the URL for your dashboard and views is quite straightforward. Up at the top in the address bar, you'll have the IP address and the port number for your Home Assistant instance. Followed by that, you'll have the name of the dashboard, and followed by that, you'll have the name of the view. So in this case here, this dashboard I'm on now is called Lovelace-Demo, and the view that I'm in is Home. You assign the name to the dashboard in the dashboard settings in the configuration menu, but if you wanted to change the name of the view or give a view a custom name, you can do this by just going into the edit menu. So up at the top, click the top three dots, and then click edit dashboard. You'll then see a little pencil next to the view that you're currently in, and if you select that pencil, it'll give you the options to modify the name. So if we select it, we can see we've got the title there, which is displayed at the top of the page. Then you'll see you've got an option here for URL, and whatever you set here will be the name of that URL, and it will be this that you use to call your view. In my case, I've set this to home, and I'm just going to leave it as that for the purposes of this demo. And you can see here in my next view along, which is titled door, I've also given that an optional URL of door. So we know how to get the URLs for our dashboards and views. Now let's have a look at how we go about casting them. To do this, we're going to have a quick look at the developer tools. So on the left there, we're going to choose developer tools. Then up at the top, we're going to press services. And from here, we're going to need to enter our service. The service that we're interested in is called Show Lovelace View. So if you select the service box and start typing cast, you should see the list start to populate, and the one that we're interested in is this cast.showLovelaceView, so we're going to select that. And from here, we just need to provide it with three different parameters. The first one is the entity that we're going to cast to, so this is going to be our media player, and in my case, it's that Google Nest Hub. So if you select the entity drop-down, it should present you with a list of all the different entities that are capable of casting. And in my option here, I've got the Nest Hub and I've got the Nest Mini. Obviously, the Nest Mini doesn't have a screen, so there's no point using that one. So I'm going to select the Office display here, which is the Nest Hub. The next parameter is going to be the dashboard path. So this was the first part of that URL, and in my case, I know that it's just called Lovelace-Demo, so I'm going to enter that here. And then the final parameter is the view path, so you just need to select the box here, and then just provide it with the name of your view. And in my case, I know that it's called Home, so I'm just going to enter that there. And with all of those entered, we should now be able to hit this Call Service button and see that cast to our display. If you're close to your display, you'll hear that little ping sound and you'll know that it was successful. Then after a second, you should see that dashboard flash up and you'll be able to see the view. So that worked for me, and I can see that view casted onto my device, and as it's a touchscreen, if I wanted to, I could control these entities, so I could turn on and off those lights or adjust those toggles. And that really is all there is to casting, just that simple service call, and because it is just a service call, you can easily convert this into an automation or script. The way that I've been making use of casting is by creating some simple scripts to cast specific views. Then by making use of the Home Assistant cloud, I expose these scripts to the Google Assistant, and by doing this, I can then make use of those scripts within Google routines, and then I can set up routines based on specific voice commands. Then I can say things like, "Hey Google, cast lights." Then I'll hear the little ping and it will show me that specific view. Now, before you run away to start casting all of your views, there are a couple of little gotchas that you need to know about with casting. The first one being is that casting session remains open. So if you followed along with that DevTools demo, you will have hopefully been able to cast your specific view to your Google device. So in my case, I casted it to the Google Nest. And if I was to close this on my Nest Hub by just swiping left, then try and cast another view to it, you'll notice that it'll just stay on this Google screen. And that's because it's got a previous session open already. There's a couple of different ways around this issue. You could manually go into the integration and just turn off the media player that's currently casting. You could do a manual service call using the developer tools for mediaplayer.turnoff and again select that target. Or you can just do what I've done and just create a little script and then expose this script to the Google Assistant so you can call that with your voice. And what this does is it just does a service call which calls the mediaplayer.turnoff and then I just target my Nest Hub. Then from the Google app, I just create a routine called stop casting and I have the voice command of stop casting. That way when I say it to Google, it will just immediately stop that casting session. And if you just remember that when you've started casting, when you finish, you need to stop, then you shouldn't really run into any issues. As well as manually triggering casting or triggering it from a script, you can of course trigger it from automations, and this can lead to some pretty creative results. One that I've been trying to get work is to trigger a view that contains some camera feeds, so when the cameras detect motion, they automatically start casting to a specific display. My idea for this was to use this with a doorbell camera or a camera in your garden, and then if the camera detected anybody, it could just automatically start a casting session and you'd be able to see who's at the door or who's in the garden. I have had some success with this where I've been able to view the camera feed on my Nest Hub, but it hasn't worked reliably. More often than not it fails and it will either have a laggy stream or the stream just won't load at all. I currently don't have many cameras that are set up and also in Home Assistant, so I haven't done all that much testing to find out if it's the specific camera that I'm using or some kind of network setting. If I do manage to get it working reliably or in a future update it just magically starts working, then I'll definitely be doing a video on it. And there we go guys, that's been a quick look at casting. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to drop me a like, and if you're not already, hit that subscribe button and ding dong the notification bell. You'll then be alerted to any future video that I do. As always, a massive thank you to these awesome dudes. These awesome dudes are my Patreons. If you're interested in helping support my channel, which in turn allows me to create videos like this, then you'll find a link to my Patreon in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.